Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai. So it's 353, right? 353. 253, yeah, 253, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Suti Pipranapana ite yatha sutaya nischala. Suti vipranate yada sutayati nischala. Sandava achala buddhis tada yogam avapasasi. Suti vipranayate yada satayati nischala. Samada achala buddhis tada yogam avapasasi. Anyone want to try? It's a long one. Suti viprayana te yada nistaya nischala. Samadava achala buddhis tada yogam avaspasi. Okay, word for word. Suti of Vedic revelation. Vipralapana, without being influenced by the fruitive results. Te yo, yada, when, sthayati remains, nischala, unmoved, samadho, in transcendental consciousness of Krishna consciousness. Achala, uninfluenced, okay, unflinching, yeah. Buddhi, intelligence. Tada, at that time, yogam, self-realization, avyapasi, you will achieve. Translation, Prabhupada, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Repeat responsibly. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. To say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one in full samadhi has realized Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. The highest perfections of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna, and that one's only business is to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person, unflinching devotee of the Lord, should not be disturbed by the fiery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion of the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into commune with Krishna, and thus the direction from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities, attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or the representative of the spiritual master. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chakshurmeta Mena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapita Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayine Nirvishesha Shunivadi Pascha Chaistayine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I had a Srila Prabhupada lecture today from 246 to 53. So in his lecture, Prabhupada was explaining how he gave the example of in India, 90% of the people are in villages. And even 5,000 years back, there was only a few cities, like Hastinapur, Dwarka, mostly was villages. In the village, the system is, people have different wells for different uses. Washing clothes, washing utensils, and for bathing. But if one goes near a river, one can use everything for all purposes because the river is flowing. So it always means fresh, clean. So in the same way, if one takes to Krishna consciousness, all purposes are served. By pleasing Krishna, one pleases everybody. And even if you consider different religions, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, even Hinduism, they have different approaches to spiritual life. The approach is not to surrender to Krishna ultimately. Someone asked Prabhupada the question to Bhagavad, devotee called Bhagavad asked Prabhupada the question that if someone is a strict Christian, is following properly, will he go back to Godhead? And Prabhupada says he'll go to the heavenly planets. Because Jesus Christ didn't give everything. He gave certain teachings, but he also said that I have more to tell you, but you're not ready to hear. And the other thing is, in other religions, the prophet is speaking. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, God himself is speaking. So, so one time Prabhupada he gave a challenge. He said, you ask 3 questions to any religion. What is God's name? What is his telephone number? And what is his address? They can't answer it. People don't know what God does, what he looks like, what his activities are. Prabhupada said, we know the answer. God's name is Krishna, his telephone number is Hare Krishna, and his address is Goloka Vrindavan. So this is like a summary study of essence of everything. But obviously, to get more understanding, the scriptures are there. To give us more understanding of what happens in the spiritual world and what Krishna does. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Bhaktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram Sudidam Sarvabhutanam Gyatam Samprim Ruchiti, that I am the Lord and Master of all planets and demigods, I am the center of all sacrifices, and I am the well-wisher of all living entities. So, in the words Sudidam Sarvabhutanam, Prabhupada in a lecture, he explains how there are 3 kinds of friends. There's the Bandhu, Surit and Mitra. So Bandhu means distant friend. Everyone's got distant friends. Bandhu, Mitra, yeah. Mitra means social friend. He helps you in your work. And Surit is the best friend. He's in the heart of Krishna is in the heart of all living entities. He's trying to direct us towards him. So Prabhupada said Krishna is such a kind friend that even if you desire to do something separate, which is not in his favor, but without his sanction, whatever you're doing cannot happen. So he sanctions it, then the thing happens. In the material world, the earth planet is karma bhumi, so it's full of good and bad karma. So you get many instances of this in the world situation where people are directed to do one thing, but they do something different. And when we do something bad, then sometimes Krishna does not allow the good news to come in just to rectify our mentality, for teaching us a lesson that we should not do the bad. But from these examples, we can see how Krishna consciousness is the perfect approach, because you're coming in direct communion with Krishna. There was so so in the human form of life, one gets the opportunity to understand Krishna consciousness. Animals go by instincts, humans have got high intelligence. They can discriminate between good and bad. So the human form of life is attained after 8,400,000 species. I'm trying to, that's good, And it's so, there are examples in, I read this book, it's called, by Ron Chopra. He wrote a book about preaching in England, how it all started. It's called Rising of the Sun. So in this book, he gives many examples on how people come to Krishna consciousness in different ways. There was one instance where there was one man, he was married, but his wife separated, and so he found out about who Srila Prabhupada was. He came to Prabhupada, and he told Prabhupada, "I'm confused what to do." So Prabhupada said, "You've joined the swan-like people, so it's a good thing what you've done. You've left a crow-like people." So you can see how Prabhupada was very positive in terms of guiding people in connecting them to Krishna. In Krishna consciousness, we require a teacher to guide us. On our own, we cannot do it, because we've been conditioned in this material for many lifetimes, and the modes of nature are affecting us. So unless we get a teacher to guide us, it'll be very hard to advance. Because the Krishna consciousness is to bring us to the line of purity. So Prabhupada mentioned, he made a point one time. He said, Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is a very easy process: chanting, dancing, and feasting. And the devotees asked Prabhupada, is there any challenges in Krishna consciousness? And Prabhupada said, the challenge is to come to mode of goodness. So generally, people are affected by passion, ignorance. So mode of goodness means you have to practice discipline. Rising early in the morning, deity worship, chanting holy name, association devotees, reading, hearing from the scriptures. And then you come to the mode of pure goodness, like that. So, and the other thing what people try to work out is they try and plan things their way. But they don't understand that without Krishna's sanction, even that won't happen. This is burning their karma off. Whatever they're going to is burning their karma off. But if we learn to go by what Krishna wants, then even though we may go through difficult patches, it's for our good. Because Krishna knows what's best to bring us towards Him. So like the story of Bilmango Thakur is there. He lived for 700 years. This is maybe at the beginning of Kali Yuga or something, where people live for 900 years, whatever. Moses lived for 900 years. So he lived for 700 years. And in his life, it was interesting how he was from a rich family in South India. And his father died, so he didn't go to the father's funeral, but he got attracted to a prostitute. Her name was Chintamani. And he went to a king's place, and he was attracted to gold bricks or some gold the princess had, who passed away. And the princess told her, "Don't take these bricks, it won't be good for you. It'll be not good for your future." But he took the gold, and the princess says, "I'm going to come back and give you some difficulty. I'll come back and give you some disturbance." But anyway, in his life, he was attached to opulence, but he went along with then he got attracted to Chintamani, this prostitute who came, and he was one time it was a heavy weather, it was storms and heavy rain, and he crossed his river to see Chintamani. Thought he's not going to come, but he was determined. He crossed his river on a dead corpse. He didn't realize that the dead corpse was his previous wife. And then he climbed the house on a dead snake. And then he knocked on Chintamani's door, and she thought he's not going to come. And he came, and she told him, "If you had that attraction for Krishna, you would achieve perfection. Why are you attached to this dead corpse? This body is just a dead corpse. It's got 9 holes. It's full of dirty substances in the body, pus and blood, and it's not full of good substances. Why attach to this body? If you have that attachment for Krishna, you'll achieve perfection." So on the way, as he was going to Vrindavan, he became attracted to another woman, and the husband was there with his wife, and he was a Brahmin, so he saw Bilmango Thakur like as a devotee. He saw him like a devotee, and he told his wife, "You must satisfy him." So being a faithful wife, the husband allowed, and Bilmango Thakur was alone with her. And then Bilmango Thakur realized what was happening, so he said, "Give me your hairpins." And he plucked out his eyes. And then he went to Vrindavan, and Chintamani had his picture of Bilmango Thakur. She was looking at the picture, and she could see what happened to him, And Krishna actually took him to Vrindavan, and he got absorbed in practicing Krishna consciousness very in a deep way. And when he got deep into Krishna consciousness, and Krishna gave back his eyes. So this is a story. From this story we can learn that the deeper we go into Krishna consciousness in our chanting and reading and serving devotees, then Krishna gives us a proper vision how to come towards him. But the difference between Bilmangar Thakur and Srila Prabhupada and like us, is that they were focused on the goal of pleasing Krishna and pleasing their spiritual masters. So generally people are mixed in the material world. They do mixed things. They have their own program besides pleasing Krishna 100%. So if you just start doing mixed things, then it just takes a longer time to get purified. But Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness can be achieved in 1 second, or it can take millions of lifetimes. So it's up to us how serious we are to please Krishna. As far as Krishna knows what we need, He'll give us what we need, but He won't give us what we want. So He'll give us what we need to make advancement towards Him. But He won't give us what we want sometimes, because whatever we want may not help us come towards Him. So He'll give you the basics, what you need to advance. But He won't give you what you want sometimes, because that may not help you to advance towards Him. So we can see in general, for those who are very advanced in Krishna consciousness, they live a very simple life. They don't live a very opulent life, generally. They live a very simple life. Even you can see Srila Prabhupada, he lived a simple life. He kept basic, simple. Even in the line Bhakti Thakur, he lived a simple life. He didn't live that opulently. His main thing was chanting holy name, living simple. And Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, he lived a line of renunciation, complete, showing the opposite side of. Ultimately, you don't need much. He was so detached that he didn't even contemplate contacting anyone on the body platform. He just avoided. He was so renounced. There's a pastime behind him how, because he used to eat soaked rice put in water and eating it next day like that. And there was a snake in the house. And a woman came to tell him, don't eat that rice. You may die. And he said, leave me alone, I don't want to see you. You leave my place. And when she left, he commented, Maya Devi left. Maya Devi came to test me. He was so detached from the body platform. The advanced devotees have nothing against women or like that. It's just those on the body platform, this is avoided. Because Prabhupada explains, Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai, Prabhupada explains in his second canto lecture, he says how devotees have a challenge. As devotees, we are trying to practice, we are not the body, we are soul. And we are trying to serve Krishna to the best of our ability. But then there's a challenge, people who in the material world won't even on the body platform. So that's a challenge for devotees. How to distinguish of associating with those who are not on the body platform and dealing with those who are on the body platform. Because Prabhupada said in his 10th canto Bhagavatam, he comments how there are two kinds of soul killers. One who thinks he's the body, and one who kills animals. So, for the devotees who are advancing, that's a challenge. For those who understand Krishna, it's less of a challenge, because by surrendering to Krishna, Krishna gives you the strength to overcome those challenges. But for those who don't understand that, it takes longer time to achieve the goal. The example of Socrates is there. Prabhupada says he was a Muni, he was a speculator. He tried to find out, he understood he's not the body, but he didn't fully understand Krishna. So he was trying to find it in his own way. So it took a long time for him. Although he understood he wasn't a body, but he didn't fully understand Krishna. But Prahlad Maharaj, in the 7th canto Bhagavatam, is given, like when Socrates took the hemlock poison, he died. Prahlad Maharaj, he was tested in many different ways. He was thrown off a cliff, put into poisonous snakes, on the wild elephants, thrown into the ocean, given poisonous food, but he wouldn't die because he had faith in Krishna. So that's the difference. If one understands Krishna consciousness fully, then whatever Krishna does is good for you. Because you understand that it's for your best interests. And for Prahlad Maharaj, he had no material desires. He just wanted to serve Krishna. So, to teach the world, Lord Nrsimhadev made Prahlad Maharaj stay in the material for a little more time and rule the world. And also to teach others the example that if they surrender like he did, then they'll be protected. So Prabhupada comments in his lecture, he says, if you chant Hare Krishna, you get the same protection like Prahlad Maharaj got from Lord Nrsimhadev. So that's an example to show that if we take to this Krishna consciousness and we understand it properly, we get the same protection like Prahlad Maharaj. So the thing is, Prabhupada makes an interesting comment on this subject. One of the purports he gives, this is in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:27-24. Prabhupada says, because the living entity is not actually the enjoyer of the material resources, his attempt to lord it over material nature at the issue, material nature is So Prabhupada explains in this purport how people misunderstand the word servant in the material world. Because they've had a good experience in the outside of being a servant, they get exploited. They think being a servant of Krishna may be the same thing. But they don't understand that serving Krishna is on a more spiritual platform. And how Krishna responds when we surrender to him is beyond our comprehension. An example is given, just like Arjuna, when he surrendered to Krishna, Krishna became his chariot driver. Now, if someone's a chariot driver, what does a charioteer do? He kicks the person on the back, right? To direct him in different ways. Imagine Krishna became that kind of a servant for Arjuna. So, and also when Jayadratha, he shot his arrow, and he was going to chop off Arjuna's head. So Krishna sunk the chariot down just to miss his head. He got his helmet instead. Krishna is that kind of a servant that if we surrender to him, he protects us in all instances. Also, there's Bhima's son Godakach. Krishna used him for a certain purpose. He took the Pandavas from the Himalayas, showed them different regions in the Himalayas. He also fought against the Kurus. He killed many of the Kuru armies. But when Karna had his weapon given by Indra, and his weapon was meant to kill Arjun. So the Pandavas were fighting very rigorously, and the Kaurava army were going to get wiped out. So Duryodhana told Karna, he said, you have to use that weapon. There's no other way. So then Karna threw that weapon at Godakach, and then Godakach died. So Krishna was smiling. So Yudhishthira, King Yudhishthira, he asked Krishna, why you're smiling? He helped us in many ways. So Krishna said, actually I would have got rid of him a long time back, because he had no respect for Brahmanas. But I used him on the battlefield for our purpose, to win a war. So from that instance we can learn that Krishna does things which is beneficial for us. Also, it could be that we have affection for some people, this and that, but we don't know the intricacies of their life. We don't know the full history. So we shouldn't get emotional about things. We have to come to a spiritual platform. And then by coming to a spiritual platform, we'll understand Krishna's plan. So even for devotees, the emotions affect sometimes. Like even Arjun, it affected him when his son died. Who was Arjun's son? Abhimanyu, yeah. When he died, he met this Chaturvyuha. He had to enter it. And I think Jayadratha had a benediction that he could stop them. He could defeat the Pandavas at some point. And so the Kurus, they defeated Abhimanyu on unfair means. They had 7 Kshatriya Maharathis, and they killed Abhimanyu by unfair means. So Arjuna was very hurt by that. He told Krishna, oh, why did that happen, But there was a reason behind that. That when Krishna was descending, the demigods, they told the moon god that you must descend for Krishna's pastimes. Or at least let your son descend. But he was very attracted to his son. The moon god said, okay, I'll allow him to go for 16 years. So the 16 days of the demigods. So that was one reason. So then Krishna showed him what Abhimanyu was doing. He said, look, he's enjoying in the heavenly planets. Why are you lamenting? So this is the thing. We shouldn't see from a material point of view. You have to see from the Krishna's point of view. So, even in modern times, which are a bit cloudy now, 2025 coming in, you see many things changing. You have to become more internal. Less external, more internal. Because Krishna has his way of protecting the devotees. And he's got his way of re-establishing the spiritual principles to uplift humanity. So, Srila Prabhupada's project was to establish farm communities, look after cows, grow vegetables. We can see modern society is not doing that. It's going completely against that. So in the teaching of Queen Kunti, Prabhupada explains, although Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan, he has nothing to do with the material world. But when disturbances come in the material world, he creates different groups to fight amongst each other to get rid of them, to establish the religious principles again. So if you follow what Srila Prabhupada has given in his teachings, 16 rounds minimum, read his books, take sadhu sangha, avoid bad association, and come for the festivals like that, then we are living in the spiritual world. We have nothing to worry about the material world. Material world is just a temporary place. Like a example is given, just like when you sleep, when you wake up, you don't worry about the dream. Even if it's a bad dream, you just forget about it. So daytime is just a longer dream. Don't take it seriously. That's it. You just have to learn not to get emotional about things. You have to purify your emotions to connect to Krishna. So this is the difference between karma, jnana and bhakti. Karma and jnana, they lock up your emotions. They don't allow your emotion to become free. But bhakti allows your emotion to become free. And connecting to Krishna, everything works out perfectly. Any questions or comments? Well, Krishna already descended in the holy name. Holy name is not different from Krishna. And these demons which are ruling now, they're like small demons. When 5,000 years back, they were big demons. Even demigods couldn't deal with them. So the Krishna had to personally come and deal with them. That's okay. Krishna just has to create a war or something, you know. They can kill amongst each other, no problem. Isn't it? I mean, Krishna doesn't really have to come, even with the big demons. He can just create a war or create a disease or big hurricane. But he comes here to attract us back to him. That's the main purpose. He comes. He comes for his own enjoyment. And he wants us to come back to him. That's why he comes. Like there's examples of certain situations, like I think in Poland it happened with one person. He came, he threatened the devotees, if you don't close your temple down, I'm going to burn your temple. So he had a dentist appointment, he had a toothache. And when he went to that place, he died. So Krishna to deal with demons is not a big thing. He just does something small and he says, finish, gone. But the thing is, we, from our point of view, we have to be focused on seeing through the eyes of scriptures, chanting holy name, avoiding offenses, and being with the devotees. If you are with the devotees, then even the disturbing times will not affect us. Because we have to learn to be with the permanent. Permanent things are the devotees, Krishna, the scriptures. That's all permanent. Holy name. We have to avoid the impermanent things. And avoid bad association. Keep good association. That's it. And we have to learn that we have to learn to be with the devotees who are Krishna's family members. And then the disturbing things won't affect us. Because the thing is, purity, where there's purity, there's impurity cannot stay. And you learn this over the years as you practice Krishna consciousness. You see it. That those who don't maintain purity, they move away. Something happens and they move away. That's why Prabhupada said, don't be surprised who leaves, be surprised who stays. Because there's a saying, Rakhe Mara Krishna ke, Krishna Maya Rakho ke. If Krishna wants to protect you, no one can kill you. If Krishna wants to kill you, no one can protect you. That's it. So we have to adopt faith. Faith is something it comes by association. Just like Prabhupada gave an example on faith. He said, when you go on, people know plane crashes happen. But they still go on planes. And when they get a ticket, they pay for the money. They get a ticket. They know that ticket is going to take them to their destination. And they know the pilot is going to fly them to their destination. So they have faith in the pilot. They don't question the pilot all the time. Are you going correct? Are you this? That? They have faith. So this is on a mundane level, people have faith, which is temporary. So what to say about Krishna? He's the well-wisher of everyone. Why should you not have faith in Krishna? But to access that, you have to associate with devotees. And you have to learn come to line of purity. So, we recite 10 offenses against the holy name every day. If you recite those 10 offenses, that will bring you to purity. You follow Ekadashi, help you to get purity. Like that. Any other questions, comments? Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai.